I'm Dr. Margaret Lafferty, live from the 2017 Hot Topics in Neonatology Conference in Washington, D.C. We're here today with Dr. Irwin Reiss, and we're going to be talking about his talk about high-frequency oscillation versus conventional mechanical ventilation in newborns with congenital diaphragmatic hernia. Welcome, Dr. Reiss.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Now, can you tell us, Dr. Reiss, what was the main objective of your talk?
The main objective of the talk was the presentation of a trial we conduct in Europe in between the CDH Euro Consortium. And the aim was really to compare two ventilation modes in a very rare disease. And the challenge was that due to the fact that it's a rare disease, it's not easy to conduct such a trial. And yeah, that was the goal and the aim of this presentation.
That's great. And how did you design your study?
Yeah, it was a multi-center international trial with 9 centers in Europe, with high volume centers. So high volume centers means more than 10 babies per year in each center. And it was a trial where we indeed, as I mentioned before, compared conventional ventilation versus high frequency oscillation, and it was a blocked randomized control trial, so block randomization in each center.
That's great. Can you elaborate more about the randomization process and the groups that you had in the study?
These were babies with congenital diaphragmatic hernia with clear indications above 34 weeks of gestational age, no congenital anomalies, and informed consent antenatally, so that we were able to include the babies into the trial in between the first 2 hours of life.
Oh. And how about the major findings of your study?
Now, it was very interesting because the primary endpoint was death and or BPD at day 28. And we didn't find any difference in the primary outcome, but we found clinically significant difference in the secondary outcome, like pulmonary hypertension, like days on a ventilator, inotropic drugs, ECMO, and treatment failure. So that was very interesting. The limitation of this trial was we planned to do the trial with nearly 400 babies, but after 6 years we stopped after 171 babies. So that was the limitation of this trial. But nevertheless, it's the first trial worldwide on this disease in such a randomized control design.
Definitely. If we can go back to your secondary outcomes, can you tell us more about high frequency versus conventional ventilation and those outcomes?
Yeah, this was also what we discussed here. Why were conventional ventilation superior to high frequency oscillation? And we think that's more the matter how to ventilate the babies, and it's more, or we think more overinflation by using high frequency oscillation. And this was the discussion also in my talk. Perhaps we didn't do this in the right way, but when we did the study, there was only available kind of devices where we were not able to observe and measure lung function. So it might be that overinflation is one of the problem.
Got it. All right. And based on this study, where would you say we go from here?
First of all, we think that, and this is also in our European guideline, that the initial ventilation mode is conventional mechanical ventilation in those babies. And I think this is what we also now, as I told you, introduce in our protocol in Europe. And I think this is the first step, and the second step is perhaps to conduct another trial on inhaled nitric oxide. That's I think what also may improve patient care. And what else improve patient care is only using a protocol. I think this is also very interesting, and this we were also able to show. By just using a protocol, we were able to decrease mortality.
That's great. Very interesting. Thank you very much, Dr. Reiss.
Thank you very much.
That's a wrap from the 2017 Hot Topics in Neonatology Conference in Washington, D.C.